All right, gents, so what we're working on today is installing a single stabilizer or steering damper on my 2015 F250. So recently I had my track bar, well, that has nothing to do with the track bar, but I did recently replace the drag link as well, and the tie rod. I also did the steering tie rods on both sides. I'm trying to use as much light as I have. To do that, I had to take off this. All right. And before I did that, I needed to take off my dual steering stabilizer. So that is currently underneath my toolbox. And I'll show you what shape that's in right now. But I was wondering why when I first bought it, I didn't have the steering stabilizer, the factory one, going from those two bolts right there sticking out to this hole on the drag link. So what I did is purchased a Bilstein single shock steering stabilizer, right? Because what I noticed when I was driving on the road, it had way too much shake. When I'm just driving, you hit a bump, it will just move the front wheels significantly. So I made a decision, I need a steering stabilizer, and I wanted to put on a single one for now. Reason why, it's cheaper to do that instead of getting two new shocks for this dual steering stabilizer. So it's just, as you can see, I'm pushing it down. All right, give me a second. See how long it takes to compress. I compressed this one when I took it off, just for, say, for storage, you know. Don't need that much space. Shoved it underneath my toolbox, and they're just in rough shape. They're done. They're just shot. They've been on there for quite some time. I don't know how long. Bought the truck about 2 years ago. But yeah, that's why I needed to replace both of these shocks in their Fox 2.0s. That's what the steering stabilizer was designed for. So that's the reason behind it. Is one, there's way too much shimmy and shake on bumps. You need a steering stabilizer. I only have 35, so I'm okay with just a single. Even if I had a 37s, with as shot as those shocks were, they still got the job. With the smaller tires and some a lot better than not having anything, this is why I went this route. So as you can see, when I showed you underneath the truck, these part numbers, this is the bracket, right? Because it was missing the bracket from those two bolts. Here it is, Ford stuff. Bought these OEM, needed a bolt or a nut, and then a bolt to go through the bottom of that bracket. All right, right here, you attach the steering stabilizer, the one with the eye. This side, throwing the nut, and then the bolt. Sorry, throwing the bolt, and then the two nuts. Secure those two bolts up on top, and then we're just going to slip this in on the hole of the drag link. If you already have one, you can see how it's already installed on the truck. I don't, but this is super easy. I think I bought this for 110 bucks online, and then I bought the bracket, these nuts, these bolts. You can only buy them in sets of 4. I think it was another 100 bucks. So for about 210 bucks, it's not bad. I'll probably spend, I don't know, maybe about 100 on each one of these shocks if I would find them. I tried finding them, but I was just like, man, I'm probably gonna have to call BDS to buy the right ones and then throw them on there. I kind of wanted to see how a single steering stabilizer would work, and there's nothing stopping me from installing this and then further down the line buying those two new shocks, throwing them on, and then have a single and a double steering stabilizer. Carly sells a set, but that's stupid expensive. I'm going this route. So I'm going to go ahead and throw on the bracket, tighten down these nuts, and then start installing the steering stabilizer. All right, guys, for this specific install with this Bilstein, right, because each bolt's going to be a little different depending on which stabilizer you use. You're going to need a 19 millimeter socket and a 15 millimeter socket. 3/8 drive wrench. That'll get the job done. You could use a torque wrench. I may take that down there. I got a small one. All right, so I think factory says 67 foot-pounds for both, but let me go ahead and show you what I did underneath. to help y'all out in this process, show you what I did. All right, this took me like 2 minutes. All right, so once I got that bracket up, sorry, let me put this camera on. Okay. Once I installed that bracket, I put those 2 nuts on there, and I just tightened them good and tight. All right. Same thing for this bolt, but I think it's also 67 foot-pounds torque to fasten that bolt. Okay. All right. So I did that side first, and then I moved over here, and I did have to compress the shock just very little in order to get it into that drag link hole. Once I did, slipped on the washer, and then put on the nut. All right, and that's where the 19 millimeter comes into play. You could torque it to 67, like I said, or you can just put them good and tight. Other than that, that's the entire process. So if y'all need, if y'all have a busted up damper, not really working as it should, or driving the way it used to, with a bump steer, then this would be a good install, good upgrade. If I feel like it can be a little better, then I'm just going to buy those 2 shocks and install a double. But I wanted a single one for sure. So that's what I did. If it's good enough, then I'm happy. If not, I'll throw on three shocks to control the bump steer. Anyways, that's about it. I'm just going to cut this up. This little strand that was on the shock, and that's about it. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and let me know below in the comments. I'll go ahead and put some part numbers down there in the description if y'all like to buy this same package. So see y'all.